I created a model to predict which players will lead the NFL in every stat category available to bet on. Now, in some categories, I didn't find any value, so I didn't bet anything. But in rushing yards, receiving touchdowns, and passing yards, I certainly did. So in this video, I'm going to break down my favorite stat leader long shot picks with plenty of analysis. Now, welcome back to the Just Gridiron YouTube channel. My name is Peter Apple, and my goal is simple. I want to give you the best free picks with the best free analysis that I can muster. That's all I'm here to do. Now, part one of my NFL futures already been released, so make sure to go check that out on this channel if you haven't already. And this is part two. Now, I'm gonna have more win totals and division bets coming out, but I want to get props and long shots out earlier in order to go beat the market, right? We want better prices. But if you're interested in futures, daily NFL and college football picks, hit that big red subscribe button. And if you like these videos, the best way to support for free is simply by hitting the like button. Now, without further ado, let's start with the rushing yards leader, or who I think will be in 2026. Now, let's start with the biggest reason this bet might already turn you off. Now, an article reported that the Colts hope to reduce Jonathan Taylor's workload this season. The direct quote from running backs coach DeAndre Smith, and I quote, "We definitely need to find ways to take some of that workload off him," Smith said. "If I can find another guy or two that can take some of those carries off, he's just going to be that much better." So you know what I did? I listened to him. I took that and projected fewer than the 323 carries that he got last season. But I still came to the same conclusion, and I think this quote is one of the reasons why there might actually be value on Jonathan Taylor. Now, Jonathan Taylor is either second or third in odds, kind of depending on where you shop, to lead the league in rushing. So why put money on a player whose upside is kind of already reflected in the market? Because I think his 2025 season was even better than the final numbers suggest. And according to my model, he should be the overwhelming favorite in this category, even with a decreased workload. Now, sometimes I see value in ultra long shots, 30 to 1, 40 to 1, 50 to 1, but this isn't one of those cases, and here's why. So through Daniel Jones's 13 starts, Taylor averaged 104 rushing yards per game and ranked fourth in the NFL in explosive rush rate, all while leading the league in carries. Now that's the separator. Plenty of backs, they can rack up volume. Others can hit big explosive plays on a lighter workload. Taylor's one of the few, rare, who do both at once. Now, this stretch included one of the most absurd runs I've seen from a running back. Through his first 10 games, Taylor had 1,100 yards plus at 6 yards per carry. The first player in NFL history to combine 15 plus rushing touchdowns with a 6 yards per carry average through a season's first 10 games. His 286-yard game against Atlanta in Berlin was the most rushing yards in a single game anywhere in the league last season. Then Daniel Jones got hurt, and the whole profile changed. Taylor kept his 19 carries a game, but his production collapsed to 57 rushing yards per game per FTN. Now, some of that is schedule, right? They saw Seattle and Houston. Those two teams were in the 4-game stretch. But even accounting for that, a drop that steep tells you Daniel Jones's presence was meaningfully improving the rushing environment around him. With Jones back under center, I think Taylor gets that efficiency back without needing a heavier workload. Decrease it, sure. The Colts won't decrease his workload to the point where the offense still isn't running through him. They know that they're only going to go as far as he does. And they'll probably just take a few carries off here and there, which will then make him fresher for the carries that he does soak up. He's entering his age 27 season, right smack in the middle of his prime, and Shane Steichen remains one of the most creative run game designers in all of football, consistently scheming him access to the second level behind a line that ranks 7th in run block win rate. This season, the Colts O-line ranks 4th per Fantasy Pros. Now, the other contenders, I think, come with some questions. Derrick Henry has, what do you even say about him anymore? Defied every expectation about running backs aging, but he's stepping into a new offensive system, and he is old. I think there's some uncertainty there, right? James Cook has a great line, a mobile quarterback, one of the best rushing environments in the league, but he's not quite as proven. But his case leans more on what Buffalo generates as a system than on him as the centerpiece. Taylor is the centerpiece of this offense, and he pairs that workload with real home run ability. He finished 2025 with 1,585 rushing yards, just 36 behind Cook's league-leading 1,621. If he'd kept anywhere close to his pace with Jones healthy, he'd be a 2,000-yard rusher. Now that's the bet. Taylor doesn't need a bigger role or surprise breakout. He basically just needs Daniel Jones to stay healthy. Elite volume, proven explosiveness, right in the middle of his prime. Now my model has him clearing the second place finisher by over 150 yards. For reference, the gap between 2 and 5 on my rankings is less than 50 yards. Give me Jonathan Taylor to lead the league in rushing. Now, before we get to my second pick, you can find all of these lines on BetMGM. If you haven't downloaded BetMGM yet, remember to use code JUSTGridiron, because if you tail any of these and it's your first pick, you'll get it all back in bonus bets up to $1,500. Now let's transition to the passing yards leader. Joe Burrow led the NFL in passing yards back in 2024. But in 2025, he got hurt in week 2, and he just didn't look the same at all. When he was on the field, kind of looking like a diminished version of himself, still great, but not quite Joe Burrow. He ranked 8th among qualified quarterbacks in success rate and 4th in touchdown rate. And the Bengals went 5-3 in his starts. Now without him, they went 1-8. Terrible. Right? The market still has him behind Dak Prescott and Jared Goff to lead the league in passing yards. But if Joe Burrow is healthy, I think he's going to run away with this. Cincinnati's offense is built for this. The Bengals finished 2nd in the NFL in dropbacks in 2025, even with Burrow missing a chunk of the season, and ranked 29th in rushing attempts. They throw the ball. Full stop. Chase and Higgins are still one of the best duos in football. Even without Burrow, for long stretches, they combined for 184 catches, over 2,200 yards, and 19 tutties. Burrow led the NFL in catchable air yard percentage each of the last 2 seasons and led the league outright in catchable air yards in 2024. He's pushing the ball downfield while still giving his guys a real shot to catch it. It's so rare, and it's the kind of connection that produces a yardage title over a full 17 games. He's the most accurate quarterback in football with elite weapons. Now, Goff, he's got Gibbs and a Lions run game that kind of should take pressure off some of his attempts. And Prescott's price assumes George Pickens, who we bet on last year, repeats a career year. CeeDee Lamb stays healthy, which I think is a bigger ask than Higgins staying at least steady. And Cincinnati's defense also lost its best pass rusher in Trey Hendrickson and finished 27th in scoring last year. I'm not betting on that unit suddenly protecting leads, which means Burrow keeps throwing into the second half. And the schedule also swings dramatically in his favor. They go from the 10th hardest schedule in 2025 to the 3rd easiest in 2026. And health is the only real question. He missed significant time in 3 of the last 6 seasons, but everything else points towards the same direction. A pass-first offense, 2 elite receivers already producing without him, and Mike Gesicki still solid. Downfield accuracy, nobody else in the field matches, and a defense that likely keeps him throwing from behind. I have him as the clear favorite, 150 yards more than Goff or Prescott. So it's too cheap. He should be the overwhelming favorite. Give me Joe Burrow to lead the NFL in passing yards. For my next pick, let's look at the receiving touchdowns leader, and I actually have 2 picks in this category. Stay tuned. Amon-Ra St. Brown's case to lead the NFL in receiving touchdowns starts with the roll. And the roll is one of the most stable signals in this market. Touchdowns, they bounce around year to year, but the opportunities that create them do not. He led all NFL wide receivers in red zone targets in 2025. It's not a one-year spike. He was 2nd among wide receivers in red zone targets in 2024, just 4 behind Jamar Chase. So 1st and then 2nd. Over both seasons, he's commanded more than 30% of Detroit's red zone targets. This isn't betting on a role change. It's betting on something that's clearly established. And the volume backs it up outside of the red zone too. He's racked up 172 targets in 2025 and finished second on the team in target share at 31.3%. Among receivers who ran at least 250 routes, he ranked fourth in yards per route run, third in target rate per route. He's coming off a 1,400-yard season that ranked fifth in the NFL. This isn't a guy who needs volume to show up. It's already been there, week over week. Now, his game translates so well to the red zone, specifically because of how he wins. Route running, spatial awareness, and the ability to get open quickly in a shrinking field. Now, Detroit, they move him around the formation in order to manufacture matchups near the goal line. And when the field compresses, he's the first read. Now, the offense also surround him, supports him. Detroit has finished top 10 in offensive EPA per play in 3 straight seasons. And that core, they're still there. It's largely intact. Goff is healthy, Jameson Williams' explosiveness on the outside, Sam Laporta bouncing back at tight end, and Gibbs is still a threat, and they have an incredible offensive line. So Amon-Ra should be one of those guys you double team in the red zone, but you can't, and he's nearly unguardable in one-on-one opportunities down there. Now, Detroit's defense on the other side is banged up and kind of limited heading into 2026, which likely means more competitive game script and more offensive snaps kind of carrying the load. More chances for the guy who already gets the ball all the time near the goal line more than anyone in the league. This isn't a bet on a breakout. It's just a bet on continuity, right? Led the league in red zone targets last year, second the year before. Over 30% of the team's red zone looks in both seasons. I think the Lions are going to be better, and an offense that has already been elite for 3 straight seasons. My model has him clearing second place Jamar Chase by a full touchdown, but he ain't the favorite. At 8-1, I will gladly take Amon-Ra St. Brown to lead the league in receiving touchdowns. Now, I got one more pick, and it's a mega long shot. Before we get to my last pick, a reminder that it takes a while to make these videos after I make a bet. So, if you want my plays early, you can follow me on the free Pickett Sports app. You'll already see some Week 0 and Week 1 college football picks, and for my next wave of futures, they're going to be available there before the video comes out on this channel. And it's free. During the season, on Pickett, you can find all of my plays in case you miss a video, and they'll be there before the videos even come out. It's a free app, and you'll get anywhere between $3 to $100 when you sync your sportsbook after using promo code JustGridiron. All right, my last pick, my final pick, is the only true long shot. And it's the same category that we just touched on with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if he doesn't win it, Rashee Rice is going to. True long shot, right? 35-1. But the profile is not 35-1 worthy. Now, this isn't a bet on a touchdown efficiency spike. It's a bet on a role and a quarterback environment holding up. So basically, if I project 17 games from Rice, I have him finishing 4th, almost tied for 3rd in receiving touchdowns, but he's in the 16 to 20 range in odds. In 8 active games in 2025, 78 targets, second most in the NFL over that span. 26.5% target share, averaging 6.6 catches and 71 yards per game. And the red zone number is crazy. 37.5% red zone target share, 18 of KC's 48 red zone passing attempts. It's exactly the role that you'd want in this market. Now, Kansas City, they build his role around high probability touches, quick hitters, schemed looks that get him the ball without needing a difficult downfield throw. It's more Xavier Worthy. That translates directly to the red zone, where space is tight and offenses want a reliable, fast answer. Rice converted it into 5 touchdowns in those 8 games, and those 5 scores accounted for 5 of the Chiefs' 9 passing touchdowns over that span. He wasn't just part of the passing game. He was the offense's primary scoring outlet in the red zone. Now, the offense around him should be better than last year's full season numbers even suggest. Any Mahomes offense carries a higher baseline than what the Chiefs actually showed in 2025. And there's a real gap between acknowledging a down year and just kind of assuming it's the new normal. Now, Rice doesn't need to play a bigger role. He just needs to stay healthy and out of jail and on the field. If he's healthy and available, which he is now, the volume and red zone share are already elite. At 35-1, a player who commands 26.5% of red zone targets, or targets in general, and 37.5% of red zone targets, more than half his team's passing touchdowns in an 8-game sample, priced like an afterthought. Give me Rashee Rice, long shot, to lead the league in receiving touchdowns. Now, those are my stat leader picks for this year. If you enjoyed the video, the best way to support me for free is just by liking the video, leaving a comment, and if you want more futures and picks throughout the season, smash that subscribe button. How about it? We just have to remember, though, it's not gambling advice.